What's going on, beautiful people out there on the internet? Welcome back to another Mcreator tutorial, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to add a custom armor piece element to your mod. Now, this is not going to be a traditional armor piece or something that is, just a retextured version of the armor that's already in the game. This is going to be an armor piece with a custom model. If you want to retexture an armor piece that's already in the game, it's actually incredibly easy. It's as simple as just retexturing the textures that are already there and then adding it. It's very simple. I'm sure you guys know how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is open up Blockbench down here so that we can make a custom model. And what we're going to want to do is click Minecraft skin and make a Minecraft skin model. Now when we create this model, we're going to disable the pose here. And then you can of course change this around if you want, but no, we want a player skin. We don't want any of these preset things like this. So we're just going to do player wide, which is the standard, and then go ahead and press confirm. That's going to give us our player model right here, but we don't actually want a player skin. You can see that we can't add any new blocks to this, can't do anything except paint or pose it. So we're going to want to come up here where it says file and press convert project and convert it from just a skin to a entity. That is a modded entity right here. I know we're making an armor piece, but an armor piece needs to be implemented as an entity in order to work properly in Mcreator, so make sure that you have it as an entity. We don't really want to create a copy, we just want it to change this one, so we can press confirm. And there we go, just like that we have everything we need. Now you may be wondering, hey, why did you select Minecraft skin first? And that is very important. That is because that gives us our Minecraft player right here so that we can align our armor piece to it and make sure that it is going to be rendered on the player properly. So I'm going to go ahead and create another folder over here and rename it to player, just so that I can get all of these other folders out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and start drag and dropping each of these into this folder. Now in today's tutorial, we are just going to be adding a simple pair of sunglasses to the model. So all we need is the head part right here. But if you were going to add, say, a pair of pants, it is very important that you make sure that your pants are split into two folders, and it doesn't really matter what you name them. You don't have to name them left leg and right leg, but just make sure that you know which one is which. So, say for example, I wanted to name this leg left if we were making a leg piece of armor. Now the most important part is making sure that this pivot point up here for this folder matches what was in the player model for their left leg. So their left leg has a pivot point of -1.9, 12, 0. So our leg left should be -1.9, 12, 0. And just like that, our pivot point is right there so that when the armor pivots, it's going to pivot properly and stick to the leg and look proper. You just do that same thing for the right leg. And of course, if you are making, let's delete this. So then we can delete this here because we're not making that. But of course, if you are making a tunic or a torso piece, you're going to want a body part and make sure that the pivot point lines up with the body here. And then, of course, if that tunic or armor piece has any sort of coverage for the arms, like shoulder pads and something like that, you'll want to put those shoulder pads in a separate folder called, left arm, right arm, whatever you want to call it. It really doesn't matter, but make sure that the right arm one, it matches this pivot point, 522, and the left arm matches this pivot point, -522. Now we're not going to be adding any of that stuff, so it is safe to go ahead and delete all of these folders because we just simply do not need them. All we need is the head. And we are going to add a new folder out here, and we're going to rename it to sunglasses. Now I'm going to have to make sure that this sunglasses folder matches this head folder. So head is 0, 24, 0. And if I click on the sunglasses, it is 0, 24, 0. That is the most important part. You must make sure that that stuff lines up. Otherwise, it's not going to rotate. It's going to look very, very weird when it's rendered. But now that we have that and we've made sure that it is lined up, we can go ahead and add a special cube to the sunglasses, and we can pull that to the front. Let's go ahead and delete this texture because we're not going to need it, and that's going to make it so that our cube is no longer transparent. Now, unfortunately, if you want this to sit just kind of flat against the player's face, that is simply just not an option. Because we cannot make this anything less than 1. So if we wanted to do 0.5 to make this a little bit smaller, you'll see it defaults back to 1. But what you can do is kind of clip it into the player's face a little bit so it only sticks out by a tiny bit. So we can move this negative to, say, 4.5. And you'll see it now only sticks out of the player's face by a little bit, and it looks a little bit more natural. So with all those tips and tricks covered, you really just need to go ahead and make your model whatever it's going to look like. So I'm going to finish making up these sunglasses real quick, and we will catch you in a bit. And just like that, we have a nice little sunglasses model that's sitting on the player face like that. So the next thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and delete our player folder and the player head, because we're going to create a custom texture, and we don't really want to create a texture for the head. We just want a texture for the sunglasses. So this is perfect. Let's go ahead and create a new texture and name it sunglasses texture. And there we go. Now we can go into the painter here and go ahead and paint our texture. And just like that, we've got ourselves a simple little texture for our sunglasses here. So we're going to go ahead and save them like this, and then go ahead and file, save your model, and then also make sure that you save the project as well so that it can be re-imported. And then finally, you want to export a Java entity. And just like that, we can come back to our Mcreator folder here. We're going to want to import an entity texture, not an armor texture. And just like that, we have our sunglasses right there. Now we can come over here to 3D models, import a Java model, and import our sunglass model. You do not need to set any animations, just override the animations, and there we go. Come back up here and create a new armor piece. Call it whatever you want. Now, if you have a full set of armor or a full set of pieces for this armor, then you can go ahead and leave these enabled, but we only have sunglasses, so we can disable a chest plate, disable the leggings, and disable the boots. And then we will need to draw a little item texture that our player holds while they have the sunglasses. So we can come back to resources, create a new texture real quick. And this simple texture right here should be good enough. So let's go ahead and save this texture. Make sure it is saved as an item and call it whatever you want. Then we can come back into our sunglass armor piece here and make sure that we have the sunglasses image we just made selected. Get rid of this word helmet because these are just going to be sunglasses. And here is the part that matters. When we are setting up the model, make sure it is our custom model that we have just made. And make sure that this folder right here is the thing that matches. So, if this is a default, you'll see that this is the helmet folder. This is what the head folder is. So, our sunglasses folder, because the pivot point is lined up, should be just fine. Let's say that you are adding a chest piece. You'll notice that you have body, arms L, and arms right. So those little shoulder pads that you made for the left arm, you'd want this to be selected as that folder, and you want this to be selected as the right arms folder, and this to be selected as the body folder. If you're doing leggings, you do the same thing. Make sure that this is the left leg and this is the right leg. That's boots actually, but it's the same thing right here for leggings. So just make sure that all of those folders line up properly. Otherwise, it's going to sit really weird on the player, or it's going to be tripled and you're going to wear the armor on all of your arms. So for example, let's say that you have a body item that doesn't have arms on the left and right. You will still want folders named arm left and arm right, or right and left, and whatever you want to name them. Just keep them empty so that you can set these as those folders, because otherwise you're going to wear your chest piece item on your arms as well. And you're pretty much going to be wearing it 3 times. It's not going to look right. So so make sure that you have those empty folders if you have a chest piece item. But we can go right back to our sunglasses here. For the armor texture, we need sunglasses texture, and the item model is going to be normal because that is going to be this item model right here. It's not immune to fire, it has no glowing effect, we don't need any special information, and it is not piglin neutral. That is to say, it is not gold, it does not neutralize piglins. We can come in here to properties, and for armor layer texture, it is going to make you select something. But it really doesn't matter. If you have a custom model like the one we have right here, whatever you select for this armor layer texture is just gonna get overwritten, and it really absolutely does not matter. So for the equip sound, I can't really think of anything in the default game that sounds right, so let's just have an armor equip chainmail sound, just because it'll be a little unique, and hopefully it sounds okay. Maximal damage that the armor absorbs, leather is 5, so we're gonna put this at 5 because sunglasses really shouldn't be that strong. And the damage reduction values, we're just gonna set it at 1. You don't have to change any of these if you don't have this type of armor piece, but I like to go ahead and set them at 0 just to remind us that we don't have that armor piece in here, so it's just a best practice, I feel. And then for enchantability, I'm going to go ahead and set it as chainmail armor right here, which is 12. 0 toughness and 0 knockback resistance for our sunglasses. And then I'm not going to have any sort of repair items either. If we try and save this mod element, it's going to tell us that we need an armor layer texture. Now, we can't just import our sunglasses texture as an armor texture because armor textures have a specific size. So I'm just going to import a default armor texture from a different piece of armor. So I've implemented aluminum armor, which is an armor that I actually used to have in my mod but have since retired. So I don't even need this texture, but I still have it. So we have this armor texture down here. These can be completely blank. They can just be the diamond armor texture or the iron armor texture. It really absolutely does not matter. So I'll try to remember to include a link to these files in the description so you can just download these files easily if you want, so that you can work from them. And if you're ever going to make yourself a simple piece of armor, you can also just kind of retexture this and use it as well, and that should be good. So we're going to come back to our armor layer texture, make this aluminum armor. Once again, it really does not matter what you put here unless you are using the default model here. If you're using the default model here, then it will use these textures, but if you're using a custom model, then of course it will use your custom armor texture. So because we don't have any default models, we are good to go and save the mod element. And that should pretty much be everything you need to know. So let's go ahead and launch the game, make sure everything is working properly. So here we are in our testing world. We've got our sunglasses in our hands right here. So if we go back to the 3D view here and throw those on, you can see they fit pretty much perfectly. That's exactly how we want them to sit on the head, and they rotate with our face when we turn. They're nowhere else. As you can see, there's the aluminum armor texture that we selected doesn't matter. It's not affecting it in any way. So that should be pretty much good. Now, I know when you're making these custom models and armors and whatnot, it's pretty easy to have bugs and some crazy things. So if you have any issues with yours, please go ahead and let me know in the comments below. But that'll pretty much do it for today's video. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out.